There are moments when weakness feels like a verdict on our worth, when our hands shake with anxiety, and we wonder if we're failing everyone who depends on us. When chronic illness leaves us unable to keep up, and we feel like a burden. When emotional wounds make us feel fragile in a world that seems to reward only strength. When depression or grief leaves us barely able to get through each day, and we question whether we matter at all. In these tender places of human frailty, there is a voice that speaks differently than the harsh voices of our world. It's a voice that sees weakness not as worthlessness, but as the very place where divine strength chooses to dwell. Listen to these words from 2 Corinthians, chapter 12. And he said unto me, My grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me. These words turn our understanding upside down in the most beautiful way. Where we see weakness, God sees opportunity. Where we see failure, he sees invitation. The Apostle Paul wrote these words not as someone who had it all together, but as someone who carried what he called a thorn in the flesh, some form of weakness or struggle that never went away. He pleaded with God to remove it, but instead received something even better, the promise that God's strength would be most visible precisely in that place of vulnerability. Think about the people who have touched your life most deeply. Often, it wasn't those who seemed to have everything figured out. It was those who shared their struggles with grace, who showed you that broken hearts can still beat with love, that trembling hands can still offer comfort to others. When you're fighting to get through another day with anxiety, you're not weak, you're brave. When chronic pain limits what you can do, but you still choose kindness, that's not failure, that's remarkable strength. When depression makes simple tasks feel impossible, yet you keep trying, that's not worthlessness, that's profound courage. God doesn't love you because you're strong. He loves you because you're his, and his love isn't contingent on your performance or your capacity. In fact, the scripture suggests something revolutionary, that your weakness becomes a sacred space where divine power can be most clearly seen. This doesn't mean God causes our pain or that we should seek out suffering. It means that even in the places where we feel most fragile, we are not forgotten, not abandoned, not worthless. We are held by a love that sees our weakness not as disqualification, but as invitation, an invitation for grace to do what only grace can do. Your weakness is not your shame. It's the place where you can experience grace in ways that the seemingly strong might never know. You are seen, you are loved, and your worth was never tied to your strength to begin with. If these words brought some comfort to your weary heart, please subscribe for daily scripture comfort and promises of peace. There are others walking similar paths who need to hear that they're not alone in their weakness, and that their weakness doesn't define their worth. Rest well, dear friend. You are held by a love that sees your struggles not as evidence of failure, but as sacred ground where grace chooses to dwell.